Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Bahrain Now as we bring you the latest talks and initiatives of the country that you won't want to miss out on. I'm Laura Sam'an. Stay tuned, we've got a lot coming up. Books are uniquely portable magic that takes you to the world of imagination and inspiration. And they say a writer begins a book and the reader finishes it. Voiceover artist is one that brings life into written word with the power of their voice. Today with us in the studio, Sarah Saidi, voiceover artist and book reviewer. Pleasure to have you in the studio with us today, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, tell us what inspired you to become a voiceover artist?
Cartoons. So when I was a kid, whenever I'm watching cartoons, I'd find myself mimicking the characters' voices all the time. And I remember telling myself, when I grow up, I want to do this for a living. But back then, I didn't know that this had a name. Then I completely...
I don't think any of us knew that that had a name.
Yeah, exactly. And then I just completely forgot about it. Just around a year ago or so, I decided to ignite this passion and actually give it a try. And here we are.
Amazing. Out of curiosity, what was one of your favorite cartoons as a kid?
There were many, too many. I'd say Sally. I think it's called Princess Sarah, like the original one.
Yeah, I think it's called Princess Sarah.
Yeah, but that one.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, and I was thinking of their voices and stuff. That's why I asked you, what's your favorite cartoon? Merging book reviewing and voiceover together, what made you take that step?
I started the voiceover thing a few months before the book reviewing, but I was already down the aisle of hobbies, so I thought, why not connect with the book community and try to share the love of books and reading with them, and at the same time build a reading journal for myself to keep me on track and encourage me to finish my TBR list. So this was the way.
But that's the best way to do it, like how I find that it's the best way to keep up for
you could
yourself.
share with people what you think about books, and you get recommendations from people as
I feel like, did you get recommendations from all over the world or from like Bahrain?
Not necessarily Bahrain. When I started, I was actually looking for more accounts in Bahrain.
Okay.
But I found out that we've got more accounts abroad than Bahrain.
Yeah,
so
of course, our community here a bit with the books
is
a
smaller,
little bit different.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's made me take this step and actually start doing it.
So tell us, what are the voiceover projects that you've worked on?
I worked on several projects, but I remember starting off with auto attendant voiceovers. And I was doing that a bit too much in the beginning, to the point where I started doing commercials then.
Okay.
My first ad, I was still in this automated tone, which was press 1 for customer service. And I had to pick up that skill of alternating between the voiceover styles, which is very important.
I was going to say, I feel like it's very hard. Like now when you just said it, I felt like I was listening to a recording. That's what I was like,
yeah, I feel more automated than, cheerful when it comes to doing commercials, but you have to switch to these
you have
tones.
to be able to balance between this version or this, because everybody wants something different as well.
Exactly.
But like I said, you just said it now and I'm like, oh wow. I feel like I'm listening to it on my phone. What are your favorite books?
That's a tough question for a book reader. But let's see, if I had to narrow it down, I've got too many. I'll mention 5 books. I've got an author called Jose Saramago, a Portuguese author. I read 3 of his books that I fell in love with. The first one was The Double, then Blindness and Death with Interruptions. And another popular 2, The Night Circus and by Erin Morgenstern, and The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Okay, is there a favorite genre of books that you like to read? Let's put it in that way.
I try to read from different genres, but I like fiction and psychological thrillers.
Okay, psychological thrillers. Like
very the one with the plot twist and you don't know what's going to happen.
Not the usual normal ending that we
it
always
just blows your mind. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh my God, something happened.
Yeah, true.
I agree with that as well. Different people and different tastes and standards in the world. What base do you review your books on?
I think the beauty of the whole thing is that people come with different tastes and different genres. And I review books subjectively. So as a reader, I try to provide key elements about the book, like what the story is about. I describe the characters, the narrative, or the writing style. So people
understand what you're trying to explain to them, like what your actual review.
Yeah, if you're going to step into a new read, you want to know what you're going to read.
Yeah, you want to know. It's not like, oh, the book is nice. No, you want to know more details.
Yeah. And for book readers in general, we always go look up book reviews before getting our next read. It's a thing, so.
Of course. You don't want to just pick up a book and read it and be like, oh, this is not interesting. Let me move to the next.
You do get adventurous sometimes, but most of the time you just don't want to waste your time on the wrong book.
Yeah, exactly, because maybe something not in your interest.
Yeah.
What could you say, like how to improve in voice recordings and any voiceover tips?
I'd say practice, but at the same time trying or experimenting on different voiceover styles. So as I said, I was just stuck to the
automated.
It was very automated. I didn't do commercials much back then, but then when I started doing these different things, so when you're working with a client and as a voiceover artist, they expect you to do anything.
Yeah,
so
of
you
course
have to be ready.
You have to be ready for any surprise. Like, I want you to speak like this. You should know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And another important tip that I came about a bit late, because before I used to go to studios and record, before I had my own setup at home. And with this whole pandemic thing, you're doing things from home, so you're expected also to have a technical skill, just the basic skills.
The basic skills so you can supply the clients with what they want.
Yeah, that's true. So editing your voiceover before submitting it to the client. Just make sure that you submit it to the client in a clean, neat version. So this makes them want to work with you more.
Yeah, of course. And as well, you need to be happy with your own voiceover.
Yeah.
What are your future plans?
Well, I'd say do more voiceovers and hopefully get projects like, I don't know, video games voiceovers or documentaries.
Something different.
Yes.
Something different from what you usually do.
Yeah, and hopefully get the opportunity to take on an animated series and just do characters' voices 8 hours a day. I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind because it's something you want to do as a kid. Yeah. And hopefully you will do it. You can pursue that for sure. Is there any message, that you'd like to convey before we end the segment?
I'd say find that inner passion of yours that had been neglected or, forgotten, and just bring it out to the light. It's never too late to discover yourself or your talents.
That is true. I completely agree. Thank you, Sarah, for that. That was lovely. I'm very interested to hear more of your voiceovers, I can imagine it was a phone again.
Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Guys, I hope this segment inspired you to pick up a book right now. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Did you know that there are 22,000 people in Bahrain with ASD, which makes it 1 out of 59 children diagnosed? Omniat, a charitable foundation with a mission to support effective and evidence-based practice in the treatment of autism and development delays in Bahrain. And we are joined in the studio here today with Abdullah Fakhro and Hussein Al-Qasir to talk to us all about it. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
So tell us, guys, about Omniat and how did it all start?
So we started a few years back, and the idea behind Untitled is to try to raise awareness around autism in Bahrain, and to try to raise awareness and make a lot of the material that parents need a bit more available. So our entire ethos and our entire goal is to try to raise awareness about autism as a spectrum disorder, and to try to raise awareness about what can be done and what facilities are available for families in Bahrain.
So the charity was established 2017, and we were a group of about 8 friends and colleagues who somehow or the other were affected by either someone in the family
and someone in the family who has it,
or we know people who and one of the board members was also a clinical director, who was also the clinical director as a BCBA or specialized behavioral analyst.
Okay.
And she was aware about some of the challenges in Bahrain, and mainly the main issue being the high cost of ABA therapy.
Of course, yeah, especially that's very limited in Bahrain as well. So
exactly,
it's not that available, and it makes it more expensive for people as well.
Yeah. So there are 3 main kind of important kind of causes for the charity. The first one is to raise awareness, and because there's a lot of kind of false information out, it's very important for us to to tell the truth, but also to combat the false information.
False information that people are spreading.
That people are spreading, and you know, there's a lot of old wives' tale related to autism, and a lot of it is innocent because the parents just try to do anything to help
their children.
Yeah.
Of course,
and
of course.
it's a very tough time when you find out that you have a child with autism. It's very difficult to kind of process. You don't know what resources you have available. So what we're trying to do is to bridge the gap between what is needed by the community and what is available in
here in Bahrain.
Yeah.
What would you say is your charity's goal, and how have you been able to achieve it so far?
The goal is, the first goal was to raise awareness. The second one is to increase the number of Bahrainis and trained BCBAs, which is board certified behavioral analysts. So it's like specialists who teach ABA.
Who teaches, so you can teach the parents as well, so they understand.
Yeah, exactly. So they're certified ABA therapists.
Okay, okay.
And the third one is to reduce the cost, the financial cost, because it costs so much. And the main reason it costs a lot is because it's mostly one-on-one. So unlike a school where you can have a classroom of like 30 people,
30 kids, you need that one-on-one attention.
It's one-on-one and the cost is sometimes astronomical. So, you know, one of the main missions of the charity is to reduce the cost, find ways to make it more affordable.
More affordable for everybody in Bahrain, so they can. It makes, of course, the parents as well feel better that there is this to help them and help their child at the same time.
Of course.
Many people don't really know much about autism. Can you talk to us about the different levels and different treatments that are available?
So autism is a spectrum disorder. So it's not, there's no single level or one single way of how autism presents itself. It can present itself in multiple different formats. And what's important to note is that, like you said, there's different levels of treatment that can be given depending on how severe
is the autism.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some will require a very low level of intervention. Others will require a moderate amount, and others would be quite extensive. The idea is to try to find coping mechanisms with the different ways that these children or individuals interact with the world. So autism is a neurological disorder that impacts how the person interacts with the world and with information around them. So
okay, they see it a bit different than how we see it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so the cases, it's range from very mild to severe.
Severe, yeah. I know some kids that are actually autistic, and I've seen different, like you said, different levels of how they interact, and some go to school and are completely normal, and some can't.
You pointed out something that is one of the things that we're trying to fix. So one of the reasons it's expensive, other than the fact that it is one-on-one therapy, is that there's very few people who are accredited to actually be therapists. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to increase that number. We're trying to invest in Bahrainis and try to figure out ways to work with, whether it's Temkeen or the EDB or whoever it is, to start programs in Bahrain, find sponsors, and have them basically certify a higher number of people, thereby hopefully
it reduces the cost on everybody else. What would you say, like you mentioned, the evidence-based treatments are the best and most accurate. How could you explain that?
The best way to explain it is the best treatments are usually the ones that are most tested.
Of course.
Just like we're experiencing today a pandemic. Whenever there's a treatment or a vaccine, it has to go through extensive testing before you can approve it to be used. Obviously, you could say that this cures it or that cures it or this treats it. And like Abdullah said, there's a lot of old wives' tales about how to kind of deal with it. But evidence-based therapies go through sometimes decades worth of research.
Of course,
to try to come down to what actually works scientifically. They do statistical analysis over years and years to try to prove that this is actually significantly improving the behavior of the child. So that's why we promote evidence-based therapy over anything else. ABA has over four decades worth of research,
Okay.
and it's the gold standard.
Okay, it's like the
and
best of the best of
Yeah,
us.
and one of the challenges with autism is if a child or an adult doesn't get treated, sometimes their condition can worsen.
Yeah.
And it won't just stay the same; it actually regresses. So this is why it's so important to use something which is proven to work.
Proven to work.
Yeah.
How would you say, like, what's the earliest stage you can detect that your child has autism?
They say 1.5 years, but really 3 years and beyond is
3 years
when,
and beyond.
Yeah.
Okay,
When
once
you
they start
start
like
to see the
speaking.
signs,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
because a lot of kids have development delays,
Yeah.
which
True.
sometimes can be confused with
Autism and
or
other-
ADHD and other. But usually, 3 years and beyond, there should be clear signs.
Clear signs. Okay. What do you think is the future of ABA in Bahrain?
That's something we're trying to work on. We're trying to make sure that it becomes the gold standard, not just globally, but here locally in Bahrain. We're trying to get as many therapists through their coursework and studies to try to get them certified. And more importantly, we're trying to make it so that it's very easy for parents to find resources. So one of the challenges, for example, that we faced is, we have a lot of people in Bahrain. Arabic is the main language.
Correct.
A lot of the information that's available globally is in English.
Yeah.
So we worked on translating one of the largest resources and are providing it for free. We want it so that parents don't feel as scared as they do right now. We want it so that they know what resources are available and what they can do to kind of help their children.
Yeah, and for them
to-
to stay calm, because of course a lot of parents they will start to panic.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
And be
of
like, I don't know
course,
what to do. What do I do? And then they start googling things, and then hear the old wives' tales.
Yeah, they
Doesn't
try
happen.
everything.
Yeah. Then they
Yeah.
try everything, and then some people, of course, will be like, no, everything is okay. But
Yeah.
We're lucky in Bahrain because we have a high literacy rate, and people
Yeah.
know how to read and they know how to
research and actually look
and
into it.
information is if the information is available in front of them, then they will use it.
Yeah.
The government is very supportive of our initiative, and we're also very lucky because a lot of Bahrainis are generous, and we get a lot of donations from.
I was actually just about to ask you, how can we reach out to you? How can people help?
So our website is umniyat.org. You can find us on Instagram as well, and we work on donations. We as board members don't receive anything in terms of pay.
It all goes towards.
It's all,
the-
yeah,
It all goes
charity.
towards the charity, and you can donate on our website. Our account is listed on our Instagram page. Obviously, the more donations we get, the more impact we can have. So really, we're fueled by the community for the community.
For the
and
community.
also for any parents who need support, they can reach out to us as well, because
Yes, of
we
course,
provide
of course.
for parents who have financial difficulty supporting their children with ABA, and one of our missions is to obviously subsidize that cost.
Yeah, of course.
them,
Well,
so.
what would you say is the future goals for Omniat? What's next?
I think these goals will take us several years to kind of feel comfortable with, but I think just continue to raise awareness, and ideally in an ideal world, all Bahraini or people in Bahrain with autism will have access to ABA therapy. That's kind of our
Your
dream.
dream goal to
that's
do.
the dream scenario. If we
Yeah.
can get there, obviously that's great.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah, hopefully one day. But like Abdullah said, it's all about trying to push the goals that we have right now to try to reach, or at least as close to that dream scenario as
Yeah,
possible.
but you never know.
You
Literally,
never know.
hopefully
Maybe,
one day.
maybe,
Maybe one day.
Inshallah.
Is there anything else you guys would like to add before we end the segment today?
Mainly just, like Abdullah said, we do work on donations, so please definitely reach out. We do accept volunteers as well. Go on our website. We always accept feedback. We want parents to reach out when they need information, but also if they have some feedback for us on how we can do more things for the community, we're happy to receive that.
Yeah,
that feedback.
part of our mission is obviously raising awareness, and thanks to your channel as well. This helps more people understand our
Understand
mission.
you guys and know, like
Yeah.
learn about you guys
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Hussein, and thank you, Abdallah,
Thank
for
you
being
very
with
much.
us here today.
Thank you so much.
Viewers, stay tuned, and we'll be right back right here on Bahrain Now. A rare knee surgery was performed at Royal Bahrain Hospital successfully by Dr. John Luca, and we are lucky enough to have him here tonight to know more details about this. Hello, doctor, and congratulations on the surgery.
Thank you very much. Thank
So,
very
can
much.
you explain to us what complications made the surgery rare?
Look, it's a combination between the age of the patient, the grade of the deformity, and the solution I found to face this problem. Because the patient was very young, I mean very young for having osteoarthritis because he was 38.
Okay.
The deformity was a knocking knee, an X knee. It's a deformity that is not so frequent in this part of the world. And what I did to face this problem was a kind of knee replacement that has the particularity is a partial knee replacement.
Okay, so it's not his full knee you replaced, it's just a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. His problem was in the lateral compartment of his knee, and he was affected a lot in his daily activities.
Of course, because
you know?
every day, yeah, it's hard to walk, it's hard to sit.
Yeah, of course, and he was really, he has a big discomfort with this because the deformity was in just one knee. So he has one straight knee and the other very going externally, and he was not able to do normal activities for under 40 patients, you know,
Yeah,
like
and it's
sports or just doing
normal walking.
things.
Yeah, normal walking. Of course, it's a
shopping,
complication in the knee.
shopping, bringing weights. So, and in cases like this, normally many colleagues are doing a total knee replacement. But according to the age of the patient, and according to many cases I did during my experience in Italy, and trying to do something that was really less invasive
Than what everybody else would do. Yeah.
No, particularly less invasive for the patient, because you know we have to take in consideration the future. We have to take in consideration that nothing lasts forever.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
So my philosophy in this case was to do as less as possible, but giving him a straight and stable knee.
Knee, so it'll last him for
exactly.
inshallah, hopefully
So-
his lifetime.
Of course.
How did it feel back at the time as you were done with the surgery successfully? How did you feel?
Look, was the expectation of the patient, first of all, because you know a patient so young has big expectations regarding the
course.
surgery, and he arrived to the surgery very afraid about the possible results. You can imagine, and this is I spoke very well with him. We went really deeply inside the discussion. I show him
You
the
have to show him the
X-rays.
possibilities, what will happen, what could happen, what will happen.
Yeah, I show him X-rays and videos of other patients I treated previously, and so was enough to convince him.
And to calm him down, of course, before the
and to
surgery.
give him, you know, some.
So tell us, how's the patient doing now? What's his reaction now to after the surgery?
We are now at 2 weeks from the surgery, and he is just using one crutch. Crutches are important to reduce the inflammation in the post-op period. So I always recommend to use crutches.
Okay.
But
For a lifetime or just
no, of course. No. Crutches just for 3 weeks.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, 3 weeks, and now he's using just one crutch.
Okay.
He is doing long walks. He is happy, and he is feeling his knee, his lower limb, because you know the knee affects all the alignment of the lower limb.
Yeah, of
He
course.
feels his lower limb is stronger than before. It's well aligned.
Amazing. So he feels fresh. He feels new again.
Yeah, he feels very, very, very happy. And you know, particularly young patients are those patients giving very nice results. In when you use the right technique and the right implants, you can have a really high successful rate also in these kind of patients. They are demanding, and they are the patients using the knee more than others.
Other patients,
Yeah,
of course,
exactly.
of course. As you are a hip and knee surgeon, tell us about widespread osteoarthritis. I'm hoping I said that correctly.
Yeah, it's true. It's correct. It's osteoarthritis. Yeah, you mean the causes of this?
Yeah, how can we prevent getting this?
Yeah, look, the first element that is the deformity. But you know, the deformity is something congenital. So if you have an extremely varus aligned knee, or extremely, like this case, valgus aligned knee, this is something you have to deal with.
Yeah, you can't control it. It's
Exactly.
Yeah,
But of course, it's very different is if over the deformity you have a patient with a weight around 60 kg, or you have a
which
patient
makes
with
it harder on the deformity
Yeah.
to make it makes it worse. Yeah,
because look, it's incredible, but with very different size patients,
of course
the size of the bones is really similar. So
Yeah.
you can imagine the pressure on the same joint with two different weights.
Yeah,
so
but
weight is an issue,
Okay.
deformity is an issue, and of course the activity the patient is doing. So work activity, sports activity,
Everything.
This
There's,
makes
there's, a,
difference.
there's a link to it in
yes, of
some way or
course,
not.
of course.
It's said that osteoarthritis mostly affects elder people. Is that true?
No, it's not true. I mean, the osteoarthritis is part of the natural aging process. But in some patients, osteoarthritis can present symptoms at 70,
Okay, 17. It's not only
for example, and in other patients before, but a lot before. The difference is exactly this. Osteoarthritis is not only a degenerative process. It's a degenerative process that is happening when some deformities are present in the patient and is linked to the activity. For example, if a patient has deformity in his hip and is martial arts addicted,
Yeah.
he will use his hip joint much more than other patients.
yes,
And
of course.
He will develop a hip osteoarthritis.
More than some other person would who
Exactly,
doesn't do these
exactly,
things.
exactly.
Okay,
This is the difference.
Of course. Can specific sports cause knee fractures, like running, for example?
Knee fracture is a term that meaning a bone crack.
Yeah.
So the answer is no. The running is a safe and healthy activity. What can cause an activity like running or running during other sports, for example, the football, is that you can have intra-articular tears.
Okay.
For example, typically is meniscal tears.
Yeah.
And yes, meniscal tears can give
Really
an
painful.
painful at the moment, but if not properly treated,
It can tear more.
yeah, it can give you cartilage problem, and at the end of the story, a true osteoarthritis. This is the case of this guy. This patient had the lateral knee injury years ago, was operated really bad because the surgeon who did the surgery removed completely the lateral meniscus, and this gives the patient less
It's like
cushion
a cushion.
effect
Yeah, the cushion effect.
from the meniscus, and this is why he developed lateral osteoarthritis.
Okay, that's what affected him more after.
Exactly.
Okay, doctor, will you please tell us more about minimal invasive total knee replacement and hip and knee advancements, implants that you've designed yourself?
look, minimal invasive, it's a philosophy, honestly. Is something that is difficult to discuss in few minutes. Is the combination between a good technique during the approach to the joints. I mean a technique that must respect the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments. So it's trying to do your way in the less invasive way
to do something,
as much as
yeah.
possible.
Of course.
The other hand, the philosophy is using an implant that is able to change just what is worn.
Okay. Not change
So-
everything else that's still alive, of
Exactly,
course. Just
exactly.
the specific part that needs to be changed.
I'm a big fan of this philosophy, of course. When I was in Italy, I was heading a department dedicated to minimal invasive surgery. And that's why I fall in love with unicompartmental knee replacement. That is nothing new, honestly. The first knee replacement in the world was made by two unicompartmental devices together.
Okay.
That was the first total knee.
Okay. Wow.
And in the last 5 years, in the US, in Europe also, we had an increase in the interest to partial knee.
And so more people were doing research, and then it just started growing and
Exactly.
growing and growing.
Exactly. I designed an implant that has specific characteristics that, so it's really modern, of course, and is particularly easy to use. So I put my experiences particularly in this aspect, because if you made the technique very easy, more surgeons are able to do it and
Yeah.
to use this implant in a safe way,
Of course.
having good results. And if surgeons have good results, they are, pushed to do
more. Yeah, you want to do more, of course. If you get
Exactly.
the results that you want, it makes you, okay, let me continue, let me do more things.
As results are really interesting, particularly for young patients,
Of course.
demanding patients, young patients, but not only, because if you consider also old patients, they can benefit from a technique that is making you bleed less, have less pain,
Of course.
and be less invasive on your bone.
On your bone
So-
and on your body, because after you undergo any surgery, of course, your body gets sometimes into a little bit of a shock, depending on the patient.
It's
So
not an alternative
Yeah.
to total knee replacement. Absolutely not.
Not,
It's a
yeah.
mistake to consider it an alternative. It's something that you can, it's a weapon the surgeon must have, according to my experience, and patients can benefit a lot, of course.
Of course, of course. Doctor, is there any advice you'd like to share with all of those watching us here tonight?
The advice is to stay healthy, to take care about the food and the activity, because all of this is preventing osteoarthritis.
Yes.
And
Stay
this is
healthy.
enough. Stay healthy. Yeah.
Thank you, doctor. Viewers, make sure you stay healthy and take good care of your bodies. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Viewers, we have reached the end of tonight's episode. We hope that you found it fruitful and enjoyed it as much as we did. Don't hesitate to contact us via email or on our social media accounts shown below. Good night and God bless.